So let's talk about the two games which we saw yesterday and today. My voice is kind of gone, and it's because I was on vacation and things happened. So now I'm gonna try to get through this video, and I'm gonna talk lower. So yeah, if you guys hear my voice kind of acting up, that's why. First, let's talk about this Boston series. This Boston series was a very good series because, in my opinion, it showed that the Celtics are ready to win. Obviously, the Pacers were undercut and undermined because they did not have the best players. Tyrese Halliburton was hurt. There were a lot of people who were hurt. And it was obvious from the start that the Pacers were going to lose this series. But I think the way they lost it was much more impacting. They got swept and they had huge leads in three of the four games. And because of like spectacular performances by Jaylen Brown, sometimes Jason Tatum, and then Derek White with his clutchness throughout the series, I think that's what really won it for Boston. In my opinion, I think that having to face the Mavs in the final now is something which I'm going to speak about later, but I do think it has been a topic of conversation. As much as I think that we can look back at the series with a bit of a asterisk, as much as I don't like to do that, I do believe that this series was one where we saw that the tide was always going in the Celtics' favor. And even with that first game when Jaylen Brown hit that insane shot, it just kind of felt like no matter what the Pacers did, they were not going to get over the Celtics. And they were not going to win a lot of games in this series. I do believe that them putting up a fight is something heroic, and especially with Halliburton getting injured, it was kind of like that's what put the needle in the coffin for them. But in my opinion, if you're the Pacers, it is time to just accept your loss. Make sure that you can look forward and try to build a team for the future, and make sure to not have these instances happening again of having, the team be so disgruntled and be so bad in a playoff series. For the Celtics, most people now are talking about like was the road for the Celtics easy? I do believe that they kind of deserve it because they were the best team in the league. But if we're being honest, like the Celtics got a very easy road. They got the Heat without Jimmy Butler and Jaime Jaquez. They got the they got the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell, and then they got the Pacers without Tyrese. That was honestly that was honestly one of the easiest roads to the finals of all time, and they do deserve it because they're the first seed. But I just think that it wasn't really worthy to consider them like a tough road. Like the Pacers had a pretty tough road. They had to go up against Milwaukee, go up against the Knicks, and then go up against the Celtics. And even a team like the Mavericks had a pretty tough road to the conference finals, and the Timberwolves did too. But I do believe that this just shows that it does not matter what your road is, it matters where you are. And I think that this also shows that seeding matters much more than what we give it credit for. Now, back to this, well, what I can say is that as much as we want to, throw things at the Celtics, what we have to talk about right now is this Timberwolves and Mavericks series. The Mavericks are up 3-0, and they've won every game miraculously through Luke and Kyrie just putting up spectacular performances each time. I believe this is one of the best series that we've seen in a while from the Mavs. They actually look fired up, and they look like they figured out completely how to play against the Timberwolves. I think this comes mostly from coaching, as Jason Kidd has been a phenomenal coach through this entire playoffs. They've gotten three very worthy opponents, in the Clippers being obviously a seed above them, the Thunder being the one seed and having been one of the better younger teams in the playoffs, and like making the games close. And the Timberwolves now, which took Denver and beat them, and now they can't win a game against the Timberwolves. No, now they can't win a game against Dallas. They have their game today at 8:30, and I believe that it will show that the Mavericks have put something very nice together. I think Kyrie has been great in this series, and I think Luka has been also phenomenal. And I think that with those two guys, they could probably make a good run in the finals versus Boston. And that's what I wanted to talk about next. Like, in the final, Mavericks Boston, who's going to win? And I believe that it comes down to how do they allow the stars to play? For Boston, they're not going to make it easy. The Mavericks are going to throw everything at them. And it's going to be a very tough series from the moment the ball tips off. I do believe that it is very concerning for the Celtics to have to face Luka Doncic. That man is a beast, and Kyrie is a beast. And in playoff series, they are just unstoppable. So I do believe that that is one thing. Apart from that, I do think that Boston is equipped to face the Mavericks. Boston have big guards, small guards, centers, power forwards, small forward, shooting guards. They have all types of players, so I do believe that they're fairly equipped. I just believe that it would be better for the Boston Celtics and the Mavericks to go out there and focus on defense more than offense. They're both teams which, if they're cold from three, it's going to be hard to win a game. And the Mavericks have much more of an inside game than Boston does. So if Boston is missing their shots, and if the Mavericks play their good defense, then they could easily win this series. I'm rooting for the Mavericks. Obviously, I'm a Heat fan, so rooting for Boston for me is kind of hard. And but with no bias, I do think that maybe the Celtics could take it. I think that Luka's greatness is gonna show more than what he has before. And I also think that this is basically the moment where Jason Tatum is gonna have to redeem himself, right, for the last finals loss that he had against the Warriors and the way that series played out. With that being said, I'm gonna cut the video here. Obviously, you guys hear my voice, and it's not going to get better if I keep talking. But I wanted to make a short video to announce I'm back, and I'll probably be making more, and I'll try to fix this for right now.